Hey, what's going on, everyone? Farzin Vasugan here with you on this edition of the Red Friday Q&A live chat. It is the first day of August, so hey, why not start off August with an episode of the Red Friday Q&A live chat? There's obviously a lot to go over as training camp continues to roll on, and we've also got a pair of holdouts slash request trades from NFL players. So it is indeed a very busy week for the Chiefs and also for the NFL as well. We had our first preseason game. I'm sure everyone was thrilled to watch that blowout. That's a great way to start a preseason game. But nonetheless, it is football season. Yes, football is back indeed. Air horns for football season, man. Hell yeah, air horns all day. Let's do it again. That never gets old for me, man. Man, it was quite an off season. Just last off season was weird because the Chiefs had a lot of players getting in trouble. Unfortunately, this year you had a little bit of a scare with Xavier Worthy, but it was, I don't know how to describe that. That was kind of a false alarm, I guess. But hey, man, we're all good. He's good. He's practicing. Outside of that, the Chiefs really didn't have any kind of drama. I mean, last year you had the players getting into trouble. The year before was the Chris Jones holdout. This offseason, kind of a chill one. I mean, your biggest concerns were trying to keep guys and contract extensions, sure, but that's business. That's the NFL. That's not drama you're ever going to. That's not anything terrible. So you'll always welcome that because that is the sport ultimately. So this was kind of a different offseason where you didn't have anyone getting into trouble. Kind of a quiet offseason, so that's still certainly take that. But it still flies by, man. I think when you're doing Chiefs content like I do, these kinds of things really do fly by. So, yeah, it's August, man. Football season is back. I see you guys in the chat. I see you guys watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Also on Instagram. We're everywhere. We're live right now. This is exclusive for those social media platforms. So if you guys have a question, please comment below. Let me know what your question is, and we will get to them as the live stream goes on here. I'm going to start off just kind of talking about the Chiefs so far in training camp. And I want to start off with Travis Kelce because I think he's the most interesting name that a lot of people are talking about in kind of a different way. People feel like he looks younger, he looks faster, he looks better. He certainly looks like he's more in shape. Do I think he looks faster from what I've seen? I can't say that he looks entirely faster or different. I personally am not seeing it. He's doing well in camp. It's nothing different that he's done in past years. Do I think he is more lean? Yes. Do I think he's in better shape? Absolutely. But do I think he's doing anything too drastically different in practice? I'm personally not seeing it. I know from a Chiefs standpoint, that's good PR and a good news story. So Andy Reid and the Chiefs will always feed into that as much as the media wants. But I'm personally not seeing like a drastic change in that department from Kelce. I still think he looks the same. I think he'll be better, especially if the wide receivers stay healthy this season. And I know there was a little bit of a scare earlier this week. We've got some good news regarding the wide receiver group position right now with the injuries, and I'll get into that shortly. But Travis Kelce, I do think he looks ultimately the same in practice. I don't think it's anything different from practices in the past. My question is, if the wide receivers stay healthy this year, how much can that help Travis Kelce get more involved and perhaps see a statistical improvement from last year and the year before? Could he return and get one more 1,000-yard receiving season for himself? Another thing I want to talk about, and as I'm talking here, please ask your questions below. Let me know what questions you guys have. I see some questions already, and I'll get to those shortly. I don't want to sound like a broken record. You guys know me. I hate that kind of thing. And I'm also, Mr. Chill out. It's just practice. Man, I'm on the Jalen Royals hype train. I'm on the Jalen Royals hype train. This guy is getting involved a lot with the ones. And it's not just him taking a lot of stuff. Like I'll say this about Tyquan Thornton because he's had some spectacular play. He's kind of building himself a highlight reel from camp. Now it is practice, so the highlight reels can't be taken too seriously. You can't put too much stock in these things. But Tyquan Thornton, he's had some flashes, made some good plays too, and is getting a lot of snaps with the ones. But with the Jalen Royal situation, man, he's getting a lot of looks his way. Some of them are just basic, mesh routes, out route. He's just getting a lot of targets. But then he's also made some spectacular plays here and there. A couple days ago, Mahomes with a beautiful thread to Royals, kind of backpedaling and secures the football. Today, with Nazeeh Johnson kind of draped all over Jalen Royals, man, he kind of pulled it up and just snagged it, not letting Nazeeh Johnson get an opportunity to deflect the pass or get an interception. None of that. And Nazeeh Johnson was playing close coverage on Jalen Royals today. And we saw Royals get involved some more as well. So what does that mean? I said earlier that this is someone who, as good as he looks right now in practice, I got to see it in these preseason games. And then if he does great in the preseason, cool. How do you carry that over to the regular season? Because right now, it's August 1st. We've only had one preseason game in the entire NFL, and that was the Hall of Fame game. But we don't have anything else to go off right now. We just have practice to talk about for now. And up to this point, Jalen Royals is doing what's been asked of him. I mean, it's not his fault we haven't had a preseason game yet. So prior to these preseason games, all he can really do is go out there, work his ass off, which is exactly what he's been doing, and getting involved. That is what I'm seeing from Jalen Royals right now. I was not expecting to talk about Jalen Royals as much as I have in these couple of weeks when the Chiefs have been there for training camp. I like that the Chiefs drafted Jalen Royals. I know there was some excitement about that. I wasn't really over the top excited about the Jalen Royals draft selection, but I'm kind of seeing why that excitement occurred back in April. I'm starting to see what the Chiefs perhaps saw in him when they scouted him, looked at the college tape, and brought him in. I think this is what Brett Veach kind of had in mind. Now, maybe not to the point where he'd be too involved in training camp this early, but man, we're seeing a lot of wide receivers get involved. Tyquan Thornton, I mentioned, has some involvement, playing a lot of snaps with the ones, but Jalen Royals has been getting a lot of targets from Patrick Mahomes. Now, I don't know who out there keeps stats. I would imagine someone in the coaching staff does. But, I mean, if it was possible to keep and track down stats, I would imagine he and Rice probably have gotten the most targets. Now, this is me guesstimating, if you will. Rashee Rice has been getting a lot of looks. That's no surprise. Jalen Royals probably isn't too far behind Rashee Rice. So I'm just kind of wondering, what does this mean? And how much can we really dissect this on August the 1st? This is somebody who's going to probably play a lot in that first preseason game with the ones. A week from tomorrow, we'll see the Chiefs visit the Arizona Cardinals. And I think Jalen Royals is a guy that's going to start answering some questions. We'll still have some questions left because you can't just have one good standout preseason game. I'd like to see him get involved as well in the second game with Mahomes. But man, if he has 2 good preseason games, there's going to be a lot of hype and people wondering what can he do in the regular season. He's going to be what Carson Steele was last year, when Steele was bouncing off defenders, not going down without a fight, pushing his way forward as much as he could in goal line situations. I mean, that's what Carson Steele was, the preseason darling last year. So I'm wondering if with Jalen Royals, if he can do the things that Carson Steele did last year in terms of being able to create himself a hype train, if you will. So I like what I'm seeing from Jalen Royals, and I'm eager to see how he looks in these preseason games. And if he looks great, awesome. Let's find a way to translate that into success in the regular season. That's going to be important. Hey, for those of you guys coming in late, never too late, please come on in. Let's chat it up. If you guys have any questions for me, this is what this live stream is all about. This is the Red Friday Q&A live chat. Comment below with your questions. Let me know what's on your mind and talk to me, man. Whatever questions you guys have, the Chiefs, NFL related. Sometimes we get off topic with these things and just have some fun. So if you guys want to talk anything with me, ask it below and I'll get to it very shortly. I do want to get into the wide receivers. I see a couple of questions about Hollywood, so I guess this would be a good time to discuss the wide receiver position. Crisis averted with Xavier Worthy. He suffered a head injury in Monday's practice, I think. I'm trying to recall the exact day. Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Pardon me. Tuesday was the brutal day where, in the sweltering heat, the hottest practice of training camp so far for the Chiefs, there were a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position. Sky Moore, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy. For Xavier Worthy, it looked like Najee Johnson, obviously unintentional, with his knee hit him on the head. Yeah, it also bounced off the turf pretty hard. He went to the medical tent, was evaluated for a couple of minutes, came back out, did a couple of wide receiver drills, but didn't get involved with 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 after that. On Wednesday, he was not practicing. Wednesday was a much shorter practice. They started kicking fans out because of lightning in the area, but it was a short practice anyway. Not a surprise to me, because the practice the day before in the heat, that was the longest of training camp so far for the Chiefs. But the great news is Worthy came back to practice today. Had his pads, had his helmet on, didn't get too involved with 11-on-11 and 7-on-7, but he was out there. In fact, during 7-on-7, the one time I did see him get involved, he created separation against Christian Roland Wallace. And by the way, Christian Roland Wallace, I'll say right now, he's having himself quite a camp. But man, Xavier Worthy, and I posted this on my social media, so you guys can go check this out. The stutter step from Worthy. And obviously we know this guy owns the record for fastest 40 time at the scouting combine of all time. But the way he just goes on a quick route, goes near the sidelines, already has that separation, has that release. See you later, Christian Roland Wallace. And Mahomes already knows he's going to be open, so he throws that nice start on a short to medium route pass and pulls it in, goes out of bounds. And this is when they were practicing some 2-minute drill today. 7-on-7, you're not able to do that as easy, but it was a big focus today in practice. But man, Xavier Worthy, back at it, past the concussion protocol. Good news. That's what you want to hear. This team needs Xavier Worthy right now. This team needs Xavier Worthy the same way a human being needs lungs to breathe. The other injuries, Hollywood Brown. This one's got some people concerned here. Jordan Schultz reported on Tuesday. It was after Chiefs practice. In fact, I was driving back from St. Joe to KC, and I heard about this tweet that was out there. Jordan Schultz said that he should be back at practice as early as Wednesday, which was 2 days ago. Well, he didn't practice then. He didn't practice today. The word is he didn't suffer anything serious. I hope that's the case. Because last year we thought he was going to come back early in the regular season, ended up missing a majority of the season. I'm still willing to trust Jordan Schultz on that report there. But it does kind of make me nervous why he has not practiced. Wednesday practice, I can understand him missing because the Chiefs were off practice Thursday, and whoever got injured, they probably wanted to keep him out anyway from Wednesday's practice. Makes total sense. No issue on that. I'm not going to question that. But Friday, not practicing, yeah, I got some question marks about that one. Hopefully he'll be available for tomorrow or Sunday because I believe Monday they're off. In fact, let me pull up the training camp schedule just so we have that. But I believe they are off on Monday. Yeah, Monday, no practice. They practice today, August the 1st. Tomorrow is Saturday. They're practicing. And then Sunday, they're practicing again. And yeah, going to be practicing these 3 days on the weekend. And then they're going to be off on Monday. Hopefully Hollywood Brown's okay. Sky Moore also got injured dealing with a hamstring there. He appears to be okay. I don't think he's going to miss much time, but he's been out there just watching with the team. So we'll see what the latest is with him on that. But that's some of the big storylines with the Chiefs. Drew Tranquill suffered an injury today. Did not appear to be anything too serious. He was supposed to talk to the media, but when someone gets injured, they'll remove them from media obligations. In fact, the NFL supports that kind of thing. But there's that. I do want to get into this real quickly because I know a lot of people are following this. And no, I do not think either one's coming to Kansas City, but I still enjoy talking about things that are happening outside of Kansas City. So within the last 24 hours, we've gotten two big pieces of breaking news in which players are requesting trades. In Washington, you have Terry McLaurin, who is not happy about the situation. In fact, he was very vocal about it in a radio interview, I believe, or it was a press conference right before training camp. Made it very clear he's not happy with the way negotiations have gone, and now he's requested a trade. Now you have Micah Parsons today, and he put out this deal on social media, basically saying he wanted to stay in Dallas, but now does not think that's going to be the case. I have not read all of this, but he's basically saying, peace out, Dallas. I'm out of here. I mean, in his Twitter caption, he wrote, thank you, Dallas, with a couple of emojis. And a really long statement here. In fact, CeeDee Lamb tweeted, just pay him. There are some Cowboys players changing their profile pictures to Micah Parsons. That's interesting. I know Jerry Jones made that comment not too long ago about, if you pay him, you might not. Doesn't mean you'll have him for every game. Well, shit, that's quite the opposite of an endorsement. I mean, I'm not sure what message he was trying to send with that. Yeah, of course, you could sign anybody and they could get hurt and miss a lot of time. That's happened before, unfortunately. I can understand that hesitation. You're seeing it with Trey Hendrickson right now in Cincy, but you don't just say that publicly. Like, come on, you're basically saying, I don't have confidence that he'll stay healthy. Like, come on, man. What are you doing here? What's up with that? So that was an interesting comment by Jerry Jones. The Terry McLaurin one, look, man, Washington's on the rise right now. And I know there are some people wondering, will Washington be able to build off last year? Or was last year a Cinderella story for them? I like where Washington's going. I like the direction they're going in. They need Terry McLaurin in order to be able to build off last year and be successful. I think Washington is a team that's capable of competing to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I think they are one of the best teams in the NFC. They just ran into the Philadelphia Eagles, who won the NFC title game and the Super Bowl in blowout fashion. Neither of those teams, the Chiefs or the Commanders, were ready for them. Man, there are just a lot of positive things with the Commanders. Obviously, better leadership, especially with the front office. the stadium deal, all these things. And man, right now it's just like you're on the cusp of possibly losing your star wide receiver. I don't know, man. I think if you're the Commanders, you gotta find a way to make that happen. See what does he want, man? Make him happy. Listen, I get it. These things are never easy. Teams have their reservations. Players want to get paid and feel like they're valued. We saw the Chris Jones thing, how that kind of panned out. Thankfully, it was not one where he just bashed the team to the media. He certainly voiced his need to earn that deal, but never once threw the team under the bus, which you can kind of appreciate given some of the comments we've heard with some of these players and their frustrations with their respective teams. All right. If you guys have any questions, ask them below and we will chat. I'm going to start on Instagram. I know I don't give Instagram as much love. Let's go there and see what we've got. We got a couple of questions there. BHut _ CH69 says, how does Pacheco figure into the Chiefs' future? Yeah, this is a really good question here. He's obviously on the final year of his rookie deal. Let's keep one thing in mind. Pacheco has 1 year left on that rookie deal. Kareem Hunt re-signed on a 1-year deal. Elijah Mitchell signed on a 1-year deal. You got a lot of guys that might play their final season with the Chiefs. So the way I see it, this is a contract year for Pacheco. He's coming off a season where he had the lowest yard per carry average and obviously just wasn't himself coming back from injury. He's got to have a good season. And I think to answer your question, a lot of that does depend on what he does this year for the Chiefs. I've been on the record many times saying that I think this season, the running back position, it's going to be running back by committee. I still think Pacheco is going to be the primary guy, but I think you'll see Kareem Hunt get involved a lot more, especially that he's had a full offseason and a training camp with the Chiefs, an OTA, and a whole OTA period, offseason with the Chiefs. All of that really does matter. I think that can make a difference. And listen, Hunt did well, really giving the Chiefs a jolt. You're not going to see it statistically, but Hunt did give the Chiefs a nice little push when they desperately needed it with all of those injuries last year. The other part of it, let's say Pacheco doesn't play well. Well, then I guess this could be his final year. But let's say Pacheco does have a good season and has his first 1,000-yard rushing season. Do the Chiefs pay him? Because that, as much as I hate to say it, because I think Pacheco's been a huge part of Kansas City's dynasty the past couple of seasons. Obviously not this past season, but man, the year they won Super Bowl 57, dude, Pacheco had quite a season. You heard the announcers kept talking about how this guy almost went undrafted, and they kept asking, how did this guy almost go undrafted? So there is value in keeping Pacheco. What is he demanding? What does he want? What are the Chiefs willing to pay? Especially if he has a really good season. What about the future of Kareem Hunt? Is that a guy you bring back to Kansas City? And if so, what kind of a deal can you make with him? Because what's Kareem Hunt's deal? $1.5 million with another $1 million based on incentives, if I remember all of that correctly. Elijah Mitchell's been looking good in training camp too, by the way. So he's probably had the most holds that he's attacked in training camp so far. B_Luna94, is Josh Simmons the answer long term to protect Patrick Mahomes? That's the hope. Listen, he's not out there rotating with anyone. He's doing a good job holding his own, and he's gone up in a lot of different guys: Karlaftis, Jones, Omenihu, Dana, Gelati. Now, we had a very similar discussion about Kingsley Suamataia this time last year, and I mentioned this, but this one just feels a little bit different. This is the guy that has more upside. This is someone that had a successful college career, and if it wasn't for the injury, he probably would have been drafted much sooner. And the thought process is that this guy might be the best offensive tackle. It's just that injury was a concern. He spoke to the media today, and he said, yeah, far as right now goes, I have no concerns with the knee. He feels pretty good out there. That's great. That is music to every Chiefs fan's ears. I mean, if you're a Chiefs fan and that does not excite you, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what Will Rogers said at that point. He's looked good in training camp. Jalen Moore, he's had some up and down moments, as has Jawan Taylor. I like the way Kingsley's looking at left guard so far. But again, I think we'll know even more in an actual preseason game, which will be coming up in just a little over a week for the Chiefs. So you hope that's your answer. Yeah, absolutely. Man, the Chiefs have gone through the ringer with the left tackle position these past few years, and they are still making it to AFC title games and Super Bowls. Like, think if the Chiefs actually get a dominant left tackle, which a lot of people think Josh Simmons will be, and if they can just get a right tackle who is average. What if Jalen Moore is just average? He doesn't need to be great. He doesn't need to be Trent Williams-esque like his former teammate. He just needs to be average. That offensive line will be an automatic upgrade from last year, even with Joe Thuney gone. Because I do think Kingsley Suamataia will be better suited at left guard than left tackle. I think the speed of the game will be better for him at guard than tackle. But man, the hope is that's what's going to happen with Kingsley Suamataia. KC3OG, what position do you think will be the big surprise that steps up better than last year? Offensive tackle, kind of just went over that. I think the wide receiver position group also, those are the two big position groups right now I think everyone's keeping an eye on. The offensive tackles and the wide receivers. The wide receivers obviously didn't thrive for different reasons last year because of the injuries, and you lost so many players during the season. A lot of players missed time as the season went on. Obviously, Rice and Hollywood, they both almost missed the entire year, only played a couple of regular season games. I think the wide receiver position will be better. And yeah, obviously 2 years ago with the drops, that was never good. That was never a good thing. All right, those are the Instagram comments. Let's go to Facebook, YouTube, and X. Let's see what you guys have on there. Starting with Yolanda. What's up with Hollywood Brown shutting down his social media? Yeah, somebody was asking this earlier today. I did not know he did that. I don't know if I would read too much into that. I don't know. I know Chris Jones, he had a personal deal that kind of just got out there publicly, and he decided to shut down his social media. I know he's done that in the past as well, just to avoid distractions. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe he got tired of seeing some of the narratives out there. I can't give you an answer on that, but hey, that's not really the worst thing in the world to shut off social media, right? Probably a smart idea by him. Do you think the starters will start preseason games? Yes, absolutely. Listen, I know we don't need to see Patrick Mahomes in preseason games, but the reps have got to be there. You got to see what you can do against another team. There's only so much you can really put together in practice. In actual preseason games, you're allowed to touch the quarterback. You're allowed to go after them. Chris Jones just had a simple move on Jalen. I almost said Jalen Royals. So many Jalen's on this team. Jalen Watson, Jalen Royals, Jalen Moore. He had a nice quick move on Jalen Moore where he just went straight to Mahomes, and they quickly blew the whistle on that, and they just called a sack. In an actual game, Chris Jones pile drives that quarterback to the ground. That was kind of a scary moment for Patrick Mahomes. Like Chris Jones, just a 1-2 step, boom. It was quick, easy. But that's Chris Jones for you, man. He makes a lot of things look easy at the defensive line. You're on the roll train also. I can't help it. I don't like to get too excited for practice, but man, the guy has just gotten involved a lot. For a 4th round rookie, and you know, there's been some depth on this wide receiver room. You have Hollywood, Rice, and Worthy. It's not like you don't have anyone there. So the fact that he's been getting involved this much even before the wide receiver injuries, That tells you something about the guy. That tells you how high the Royals are, or how high the Royals are. The Chiefs are on Royals. When is this guy going to throw a first pitch at a Royals game? Like, how has that not happened already? Come on. Like, what's the point of a marketing department if you didn't even make that happen up to this point? I don't care if he's a fourth round rookie. That has to happen. Like, that should have happened already by now. And now it's too late because Royals is focused on football. The Royals are, in their season. It's just not going to work out. Pulling for Travis this year. Yeah, listen, man, me too. I think a lot of people would like to see him have one last good season. The speculation is if the Chiefs had three-peated, he would have rode off into the sunset. People thought that with Super Bowl 58, but he decided to continue playing. He's made it clear that he's would like to continue playing for more seasons, plural seasons. I don't know, man. I think you just take it year by year and see how you feel each offseason and just go from there. But yeah, I'd like to see him have one more 1,000-yard receiving season. I'd like to see him get one more ring and, man, be able to solidify his just everything he's accomplished and call himself the greatest tight end of all time. I think he is. He may not be able to get the career numbers that Tony Gonzalez had, and I think that's fine. Dude, have you not seen Travis Kelce's postseason numbers? They're Jerry Rice-esque. That's insanity. I mean, this guy has some of the records for most receptions, receiving yards, touchdowns in postseason history. And because the Chiefs have played in some Super Bowls now, he's also up there among, some of the most receiving yards and touchdowns and catches of all time in Super Bowl history. Harrison Butker as well. I mean, not that was a focus on this question here, but trade Brown for McLaurin. Hollywood Brown? Dude, you better be throwing in some draft picks, like multiple first-round draft picks. What do you know about Hollywood's injury? We know it's an ankle injury, and Jordan Schultz said it's not too serious. He should be back soon. The report was as early as Wednesday. Obviously, we've had a couple of practices since then. So the hope is he's going to practice at some point today, tomorrow or Sunday. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting my days of the week mixed up. It's been one of those weeks where I don't even know what day of the week it is. I just remembered like a couple of hours ago. I'm like, oh shit, the Red Friday Q&A live chats today. That's the type of week it's been. What about the new guy Simmons? How is he looking in training camp? We kind of went over that, Rochelle. Pretty good. They're not rotating him with anyone. He's not splitting time with the ones with another left tackle. He is the left tackle. That's the guy at left tackle. Kwame Lassiter, or how do you say his name? Kwame? Yeah, I know he went to KU. His dad went to KU as well. We talked about this on the podcast. We did. I don't think he was out there with the second or third stringers, or even fourth stringers. So I don't know. I can't really get into that right now because he hasn't had an opportunity. I'll just say this now. It is an uphill battle for him. I'm just wondering if he's a training camp body at this point, if he's just a number just to fulfill the 90, and maybe he's just auditioning that another team will keep an eye on him, or maybe he's auditioning for the practice squad. Because who are the wide receivers going to be? Let's assume Rice is not suspended to start the season. Rice, Hollywood, Worthy, Royals, Juju, and Juju's been getting involved a lot too lately, especially with some of these absences with Sky Moore and Hollywood Brown. But there's your 5. 6 is going to be Tyquan Thornton, I think. 7, Nico Remigio. Maybe you keep only one of those two between Remigio and Thornton. Or maybe you keep both. I think they keep both. They can both contribute on special teams as well. Now, man, I just feel like it's an uphill battle. Let me pull up the Chiefs depth chart here. Yeah, you have Elijah Badger, Sky Moore, who's not practicing at the moment. Why is this not pulling up? Okay. I don't know. Something's wrong with the Our Lads website. Do they have the depth chart on the Chiefs website? They have not put out a 2025 depth chart yet. They usually have one. They haven't had one this season, oddly enough. Let me just see if I can pull them up by wide receiver position on the website. Yeah, you have Keyshawn Smith, Hal Presley, Jimmy Holiday, Magdalena, who's gotten some looks with the ones, Jason Brownlee. Those are your wide receivers. Yeah, those guys have an uphill battle. So unless there's an injury of some sort, I think Lassiter is really just auditioning for either a practice squad spot or to see if another team will like what they see out of him. Oh, Kenny, come on, man. I know you're not being serious with that. Moore and Brown for McLaurin. Dude, did you have the other comment earlier? I can't remember where it was, or was that somebody else? That was somebody else. Yeah, you got to throw in some draft pick in there. There's no way they're just going to accept that trade straight up. Remember when Parsons said if he had to play for another team, it would be KC? Somebody mentioned this, and I don't remember this. When did he say that? You're going to training camp? Hey, have a good time. Drink a lot of water if it's hot out there, especially if it's hot out there. But it's a lot of fun, man. Chiefs fans have been showing up for these, even on the weekdays. The first publicly open training camp after the season ticket member day, it was really light. But man, that fan base is awesome, man. Chiefs Kingdom. Should we worry about the Chargers after last night? No, come on. You saw a bunch of backups there, so yeah, Hunt did really well. And again, he gave the Chiefs a nice little push when you lost Pacheco, you lost Rice. Hollywood had been out for a while already at that point. Dude, the Chiefs were in desperate need of help. Obviously, if you didn't have these injuries, Kareem Hunt might not be back in Kansas City. He might have not played at all last year for another team. But the Chiefs felt like it was time to give him a second chance. They did their due diligence in making sure he's on the right track. And dude, this is a great story for Kareem Hunt. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. And by the way, let me say this about Rashee Rice too, because I posted about this, but I haven't said this yet on today's live stream. If you ask me who is having the most fun out there, I'm going Rashee Rice without hesitation, man. That dude's having fun out there doing spin moves against McDuffie. And then a few practices ago, he catches. By the way, he's been retweeting all my highlights that I've been putting out there of him. Rashee Rice scored a touchdown during a red zone drill. And obviously the fans go crazy whenever they see a touchdown score in practice. And he decides to punt the football into the stands and almost hit me, by the way. But thankfully there was a kid next to me who caught that football. Dude, he's having fun. I would be willing to say, as someone that's been there for a lot of the practices, not all of them, but most of them, dude, I think he has signed the most autographs out of anyone else. He's out there taking pictures with fans, smiling, having a good time. Listen, we know he got into some serious trouble last offseason, went through the injury and missed a lot of time. I mean, the timing of the injury basically positioned him to be ready for now. And obviously, we'll see with the suspension. You can tell he missed football. And I think this is someone like Kareem Hunt looking at a second chance and realizing, okay, I made a really bad decision here. I got to keep my head on straight and not screw up anymore. We got to focus. We got to go out there and play some football, do what we do best. Dude, Rashee Rice, that first game last year against Baltimore, that did not look like a guy that was coming off a rookie season. That looked like a guy who had played in the NFL a very long time. Rashee Rice looked like a different wide receiver to me in that first game of last year. And throughout the time that he played last year, which wasn't very much, but from what we saw, dude, no one was stopping Rice. What cornerback last year had him figured out? I know it's a small sample size, but man, I want to see it, man. Let's hope he can keep that up in the regular season whenever he comes back from his suspension. Again, we don't know if he's going to start with the suspension. Since Isaiah been injured, I think there is concern there. Hunt sounds as if he wants to stay in KC, but if offered enough, could leave if he has a good season. Yeah, that's fair to say. That is very fair to say. Kind of just said the same things a few minutes ago too about that position. Let's see. Let's continue rolling along here. Why are you so hell bent to tear down Arrowhead and move to KCK? What did that mean? Hell bent to tear down Arrowhead. Give me an example, because I don't know what that means. Hell bent to tear down Arrowhead. Because I would argue I have not been hell bent to tear down Arrowhead. I think the better business decision would be a dome in KCK. I haven't seen any good business reasons to stay at Arrowhead. Everyone's saying the nostalgia in the stadium. I get that, but that's not a good business reason to stay there. If you want the Chiefs to stay in Missouri because you're super duper anti-Kansas, just say that. It's a lot simpler that way, which again I still find silly and I don't understand. Listen, man, as someone that's a naturalized American citizen that was not born here, I'm always just intrigued by the amount of people that like want to shit on states and cities in their own country. Are there some places in this country that are unsafe? Yeah, of course. I would say that for the Kansas side and the Missouri side. There are a lot of places on both sides that I would avoid. Some at certain times of the day. But unfortunately, that's our society these days. You got some safe spots that you can go and enjoy. There are some not so safe areas. That's really the entire country as a whole. But there are always people that just bring up these there's crime in this place. Well, there's crime everywhere. There's been a lot of that in KCMO lately, and the mayor has not really done anything to reduce that. We have seen some attempt, but the statistical rise is just up high there. I mean, it's not looking good. But as far as the stadium itself, I mean, listen, the only reason I've seen people say about keeping the Chiefs at Arrowhead is just the fact that they love the stadium itself and the nostalgia and all that stuff. Listen, you're going to have to get a new stadium at some point. The stadium's coming up on 54 years old. And by the way, we just mentioned the Commanders. They just signed the deal for a new stadium. You're seeing a lot of new stadium proposals and signings get put together lately. And for people who keep saying football is not meant to be played indoors, bro, by 2031, whether the Chiefs choose to be part of this or not, half the stadiums are going to be indoors. So we're moving more and more into that direction where there's going to come a point in time 50, 60, 70 years down the line. You're going to see very few outdoor stadiums, whether you like it or not. For those who keep saying football is meant to be played outdoors, well, if you just look at the trend we're going in right now, more than a third of the stadiums are indoors. And by 2031, half of them will be indoors. It'll be more than half of the Chiefs join that trend. And the Chiefs do not like Jackson County, specifically the Truman Sports Complex. It's funny because the mayor said on a live stream, on his live stream on Facebook once, said that we can do more to activate the area around the Truman Sports Complex. First of all, that's not true, because Clark Hunt debunked what the mayor said. Not meant to do it directly. Whether he heard the mayor's comments or not at one point, Clark Hunt said earlier this week that area is not really an area that you can build any kind of entertainment district. He just shut that down. So, which leads me to my next point. If you can do more to activate the area around it, Mr. Mayor, why haven't you done it already? Could not have been that difficult to do if you believe that could be done. Should have been done by now, in all honesty. Let me ask you guys this. Let's say the Royals move on, because I know Mark Donovan was saying, yeah, maybe they don't leave. I think they will. But let's say the Royals are gone. Okay? people are talking about putting an entertainment district where the Royal Stadium is, like a sports bar, those kinds of things, kind of like PNL, I guess. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. That would be the biggest waste of taxpayer money you could really put together. I'm not trying to be rude. Like, that would be such a dumb idea. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to go to an entertainment district at the Truman Sports Complex in June. The only time that area would ever be utilized would only be for football games, and you would only have 10 or 11, including preseason games. And then obviously you could have some postseason games there as well. That's not the smartest use of money. And listen, our government, for crying out loud, Congress is already wasting a lot of money. We have politicians at the local and the national levels wasting money like it's nothing. Let's not do dumb decisions, please. We already do dumb enough decisions when it comes to taxpayer dollars and what we spend money on. Come on. The Royals went on like a really hot run when they drafted him. Yeah, I remember that. I've been saying 2 to 4 games. I think people are going to be surprised. I don't think it's going to be as big of a suspension as they're expecting it to be. I love the people who are like, it should be a year-long suspension. Calm down. There are people who've done far worse in the NFL and have gotten less than that. Like, chill out. Some people really just say you want him suspended because you don't like him being on the Chiefs and he's good. And you want the Chiefs to be weakened that way. It's a lot easier. What's the deal on the D-Hop trade? DeAndre Hopkins, I assume you mean? I mean, the Chiefs traded for him last year, and then he moved on to Baltimore. That was not a trade. That was a free agent signing. Otherwise, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Keep both Remigio and Thornton. I agree with that. Yeah, because listen, they could both be guys that you could use on special teams, and they could both be good depth players for the wide receiver position. That's how I see it. $99. Ooh, man. Listen, with the humidity, it's insanity. It really is. Montana gals love that weather today. Yeah, today's weather was beautiful. Like if that was the weather for like every day of my life, like if the entire globe, this is obviously a very big hypothetical here, but if the entire planet had that kind of weather 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, dude, that is my kind of weather. And listen, I don't mind the heat too badly. I mean, for people who have to work outside, like construction workers, those people, I mean, props to them. During Tuesday's practice, Andy Reid would call timeout just to give some water breaks to the players. That's how bad the heat was on Tuesday. Me personally, like, I don't mind. Sometimes I'll work out, do my exercises outdoors, and it's not too terrible as long as I'm drinking water, got a towel on me, that kind of thing. By the way, if you're going to camp, get a towel with you. I know people have those fans out there. Some people are bringing umbrellas with them just to keep the heat off of them. Didn't see any umbrellas today. But yeah, do everything you can to keep yourself cool because especially the longer practices, that can make for a not so fun experience. So drink up, get some water with you, stay cool. A dome is what we need, especially for the weather. Yeah, listen, me personally, I don't like attending cold weather games. I went to one in 2013. Not fun, especially when it ended in a loss. The game was great, but the experience in the cold, I'm just not a cold weather guy. Do you think we need a stadium? What's up, Noah? Do you think we need a stadium with a roof? I hope we get a WrestleMania at Arrowhead. Yeah, listen, if you get a roof, you get a lot of opportunities. I know WWE has not shied away from going to cold weather places in the open air for WrestleMania. They've done it before, which I don't think is ideal, especially when you got those wrestlers in briefs, almost shirtless, basically. I don't think that's ever ideal. Let me just be clear about something, because I'm seeing a lot of people say that the Chiefs can build a dome stadium at the Truman Sports Complex where the Royals are. I've also seen people say that the Chiefs can just create a roof over the current Arrowhead. How? Second of all, the Chiefs have made it very clear that if they're staying where they are, the only Missouri option is to renovate Arrowhead. There's no Missouri option to build a brand new stadium. If they're going to build a brand new stadium, it's going to be on the Kansas side. It's really either stay where they are, renovate, and it won't be a dome, won't have a roof. I suppose that could come eventually. They can always change their plan. The other option is the Legends KCK with a dome. There's nothing else. There's no, because I see a lot of people say this online. There's no proposal from the Chiefs to have a brand new stadium where the Royals are, like a dome stadium right in that spot. Some of these questions we've already answered, so I'm not going to do any repeat questions. Let me go to Instagram. Get Low wants to know, what Final Fantasy am I on? I'm finally on Final Fantasy 14. I'm actually replaying it, but yeah, the last couple of expansions I haven't played in quite some time. Barn Dreaming wants to know, I'm visiting KC. What's the best barbecue there? Oh, you know, you came to the right place. I would say, in no particular order, my three choices are Burt Ends Barbecue, Joe's KC, Meet Mitch. If you go to County Ice at PNL, that's owned by Joe's KC, so I'm kind of putting that under the same umbrella there. Jack Stacks is not bad either. That's pretty good. I mean, listen, you can't go wrong with a lot of these. You know what's one I haven't tried is Slaps Barbecue. I really want to. I just haven't had a chance to go out there and give it a try, but I've heard nothing but positive reviews. Max Holloway from the UFC, he went there and did like a whole video about it a couple of years ago, and he enjoyed it. He loved it. I remember not this year, but 2 years ago when the UFC was in Kansas City, Q39 provided the what's the word? The catering for the UFC fighters and the staff, and they loved it. My good friend Eddie Law, he covers the UFC for Cage Side Press. Does a fantastic job. CageSidePress.com. Check it out. But he was in Kansas City for that weekend, and I took him to County Ice at PNL because I wanted to show him all the barbecue. He had Q39, and he texted me. He's like, dude, you guys do barbecue pretty damn good. He did not know what the barbecue hype was all about. When he came to Kansas City, he gave it a try. Yeah, he got it. Now he knows. It's one of those things like, you don't knock it till you try it. And I'm not saying anyone ever knocked it, but don't say anything about it until you try it. And that's exactly what Eddie did. He tried it and he is in love. I actually took a picture on my Instagram stories once saying, hey, I'm here at Q39. And he commented, he was like, oh, I'm jealous. Like that's how much people love the barbecue, man. They come here and then they're not visiting Casey for a while. And there you go. Like, people want to come back because of it. It's funny because Eddie, his daughter, was considering going to medical school. And one of the places they were considering is KU Med. Which is in KCMO, very close to Q39. And I joked with him, like, dude, if you want, have your daughter go to KU Med and you can visit her, and KU Med is right by Q39. So that's like the perfect thing you can do to hang out with your daughter when you come visit. Go to Q39, just across the street from KU Med. I'm in Illinois and it was 77 yesterday. Very nice. Yeah, that's what I like. Some breeze in there. Yeah, that's good. Jeff says yes, that might bring a Super Bowl to KC. Yeah, it can. I don't think the Chiefs would be an active rotation for one, but man, here's the thing. I think if you're KC and you get a dome, you can get a lot of season-long opportunities. You'll get a lot more concerts. There are some musicians that only go to stadiums, indoor stadiums, or at least in warm weather places. And I think that's where Kansas City would be able to step up and be able to chime in and be able to put their name in the hat for these kinds of events. Here's something that I think they can do every year. I think they can get a college bowl game every year. Now, it might not be one of those big BCS playoff bowl games, or maybe it could be. I don't know. Maybe you could convince them that, hey, why not do like a Heart of America type of game and have one of the college bowl games be right in the middle of the country? Because the good thing about KC, it's exactly directly in the middle, and you could get two good teams playing right in the middle. And I don't know, depending on the travel, hey, the middle of the country would not be the worst place to have a game like that. Today's Hulk Hogan Day in Florida. Yeah, I was aware of that. I don't know what that entails exactly, but is today? I believe his birthday is coming up soon. But yeah, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. You posted great videos today at training camp. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of you guys have had positive. I'll be honest, I only went for like the first 2 days of training camp. And then when I saw the demand and just how much you guys love the clips, I said, hey, why not keep going? I'm a man of the people. All right. So you guys ask, you will receive. So I'm glad you guys like them. I appreciate you guys. For anyone that's been watching, sharing, commenting, that helps tremendously. The followings also went up. I was not expecting that, nor was that really like something that I was in need of. But hey, you know, you always want to grow when you're a content creator. So that really means a lot. I appreciate you guys. I know there are a bunch of new followers on all social media platforms. That means a lot. Thank you guys so much. And I hope you guys enjoy the content, enjoy the live streams. We'll obviously be doing more of these as the season goes on. I'm going to try. I'm not going tomorrow. I'll be honest. I do need a little bit of a break. I am going to try to go next week a couple of times. I got to be honest with you guys. Something's come up. Nothing terrible. Nothing like serious or desperately like urgent. But there is something that I've got to handle. Again, nothing serious, but that might keep me away from St. Joe for a while. By the way, I'll say this right now. If you're in St. Joe and you're looking for a place to eat, RC's RC's Lunch Car, fantastic burgers. Ask for they have a brand new burger. It's called the Michigan Great Lakes Olive Burger. That seriously has to be one of the best burgers I've ever tasted. Like, I have never had an olive burger before. And that apparently is like a special thing in Michigan. I like that. My curiosity was definitely peaked at that point. So RC's Lunch Car, and they've got good shakes too. Check them out. If you want some damn good pizza, Genio's. It's spelled Geneo. Genio's. They've got really good pizza. I had their Philly cheesesteak pizza. Bro, it's good. So if you got two places you want to check out, RC's Lunch Car for burgers and Genio's for pizza. I heard the wings at RC's is good too. I can't speak to that. My brother liked it, but and I trust my brother's critique with these kinds of things, but he said they're good. So if he says they're good, I believe they're good. All right. I think we are caught up on the comments here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this edition of the Red Friday Q&A live chat. My name is Farzin Vasugian. If you guys enjoyed this, please share it. Let a friend know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Trying to get the numbers up there. I appreciate the new mass amount of followers we've had on YouTube. We surpassed 1,000 followers on there, or 1,000 subscribers technically is how you say it on YouTube. And it's been growing since then. So thank you guys so much. Please keep that up. Let a friend know if you haven't if you've subscribed already. Let a friend know. Tell them about it. If you know someone who loves Chiefs content, they can take in more Chiefs content. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the Chiefs Zone. My name is Farzin Vasugian. Everyone have a great weekend. I will talk to you all later. Peace out.